Someone shot the food.
Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, August the 31st, 2020. It is good to be back with you guys live. The Mr. Video Game Live Super Show live, brought to you by Dead Sun Entertainment live here on twitch.tv/Dead Sun Entertainment. Good to see everyone again today. I press buttons and make stream go. I'm Slacker Kite, and with me today we have Brian aka Wonderboy. Woo!
Thomas Tracana hit a ground out to Edric Tosser.
Have I just had a stroke? I'm not sure
No. No, you didn't. More on this later during the Blaseball Minute. How's everyone doing?
I am good, and of course by everyone you mean me and you. I don't know where Lady Marilyn is right now. She appears during the podcast. Alright.
I'm sure she'll pop up.
Yeah, I know she had work today, so it's very possible she might have just fucking conked out, and that's fine, because a new job is stressful as fuck, and that shit happens.
Exactly. Here at Mr. Video Game Super Show, we definitely endorse self-care, even if we don't always engage in it. Directly at myself. Woo!
Oh, absolutely. I've never burnt the candle at both ends, and you worked on a project when I shouldn't have. Never at all.
It's not like that's like my usual driving force in my life.
I'm stressed because I
ice
don't have a
cream
project I like, and stressed because I work too much.
Oh, Lord.
Of course, hey, speaking about extra work, hey, a casual reminder, tomorrow is the history of the world on Ralph Baer and the Brown Box, the first console game thing?
Console question mark.
Kind of a console, but it is definitely a video game, so we will be discussing it on tomorrow's show and all of that. So tune in 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I actually am getting the time right for fucking once, so...
Yes. I am excited to start at 5 p.m. my time.
Alright, Brian, important question for you. Have you seen Bill and Ted 3?
I have not seen Bill and Ted 3 yet.
Like, I know this isn't video games, but I feel like it ties close enough to video game culture.
Oh, it definitely can, and it definitely can. I trust me. I want to see it. I kind of took the weekend for other stuff, unfortunately. Portland is a little
busy, yeah.
right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my weekend was preoccupied more so with current events than other things right now. So I haven't really had a chance to check it out, but I do want to check it out, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to check it out before we reconvene on next Monday.
Oh yeah.
So it's just I love the Bill and Ted movies. Bogus Journey is probably like one of my top 10 favorite movies.
Oh yeah.
Especially growing up. So like just knowing that there's another one out there, like it's the perfect palate cleanser for the like all of the stress and the trauma of everything around us. It's just like, give me 75 minutes to take a break because I know the other stuff's on the other side, and this is a perfect little um drink of water for that.
E. It's 2020, and it is time for happy, go fun, lucky stuff. So yeah, it was definitely a breath of fresh air. It's fun, it's quirky, everything you can expect. Oh Lord, Lindsay got stuck on a call. That is why she is not back. She will be back as
Ah,
soon as she is done working, so she can do a podcast. Because time
no
is an
worries.
illusion.
Exactly. It's all right.
Anywho, I want to give a big fuck you, by the way, to Metallica
Oh,
for
what do they do now?
Saturday night. They held a live simulcast that every single drive-in in the country picked up. And that wrecked my ability to go see Bill and Ted on Saturday night. The only night I had
Ah,
time to go see it.
well, definitely.
Yeah, so
I mean,
I
if you didn't need other reasons.
I paid the money to give it a rent. It's a fine flick. It's worth the $20. But man, I could have seen it on a drive-in theater screen. That seems like the perfect opportunity. And fucking I couldn't wait another week. Fuck that. Why couldn't they wait another week? I planned this shit for months ahead.
It's all right. You still got to see the movie, so that worked
Absolutely.
out. It sucks. It sucks that the drive-in thing didn't work out. But you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Metallica.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool with saying that.
And I didn't have enough time to play the Control AWE. Literally Thursday and Friday, I just had like let's plays of Alan Wake running in the background so I could catch up to know everything about Alan Wake, because I've tried to play Alan Wake before and I just feel like it kind of hasn't aged great. It feels kind of clunky. It's great atmosphere, but I hate the fog everywhere, so I have trouble playing it. So
I mean, I don't fault you on that. Like, that's a game that whenever I played it when it originally came out, like I finished it in one night.
mm,
Like, I was sucked in immediately.
the
Even though that game is definitely structured not to play it that way. Um, but no, like I thoroughly enjoyed that game for the 6 to 7 hours that I spent with it that night, and then I haven't touched it since. And I've been curious to go back because I ended up when they re-released it on Steam, I grabbed it,
mm,
snagged that thing on special. So I've been meaning to go back and play it again because I really enjoyed it, but I just never felt the need to go back to that world. So I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how they implement stuff into Control. I've read a couple of things that are pretty intriguing.
mm.
So I'm curious. I'm excited to see what you how you feel about that once you're done with it.
Yeah, I have to say, like, what I wasn't expecting was the American Wasteland. I just thought it was DLC, right? And then I saw it. It is gorgeous. I could actually
Yeah,
play that.
yeah. I mean, it is a DLC basically, but it is also kind of its own standalone thing.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So how have you been, Brian? What's your week been up to?
A lot of wrestling. Still a lot of wrestling. Some games here and there. I did get to play. I started Bioshock 2
Ooh.
for I didn't know what to play, and I was on my PlayStation, and I didn't want to like go through the hassle of hooking my computer up to the living room TV
Mhm.
to play something. So I just looked through what I had, and Bioshock Collection was free a couple months back on PS4 on PS Plus, and so I had downloaded those, and I've never played Bioshock 2. It's like the one game in that series that I didn't play, because whenever Bioshock originally came out, like it was basically like Ken Levine didn't touch this one, so I don't want to play. I was that person, and I hate myself for being that person. So I went back and started it, and I've only played like an hour or so, but it's interesting, and I'm curious to see where things go with it.
All right.
I like the idea of like putting yourself into a Big Daddy, and like, kind of working with the repertoire there. Um, and the story is like very of the time. I would say very Bioshock of the time, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing what came out of the people that developed that game, specifically the Minerva's Den DLC as well. Seeing what happened with people moving on to Fulbright, building out Gone Home and Tacoma, and I'm 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 curious to revisit that, not ever touching it and seeing exactly like where some of those roots came from. So, and I still have Spiritfarer on the back burner. I haven't played enough of it to feel comfortable talking about it just yet, but Spiritfarer still is pleasing so far. But I'll definitely. I know I said last week I'd have more to say about it this week, but I will definitely have more to say about it next week.
I feel kind of weird, right? Because like I've been saying for weeks now, I'll get to The Last of Us 2, and I will. I want to get to The Last of Us 2, but shit keeps happening, and then keep looking at it like, I don't have the time to devote to the full game experience. So I keep going to these little happy, fun, small bites like Mario and shit, and I will get to it because this is one of the games I've most looked forward to. And that is fucking weird that the game I've most looked forward to, that is sitting right there next to my television in the other room, is just chilling out, having fun, grabbing a coffee. Like, what's up?
Some things get tiresome, and you just got to go back to them later. It just doesn't fit the setting.
Mm-hmm. All right. Should we get into the news then, or anything else we want to cover first?
No, I think we can jump into the news. I think that's all I've been playing this week,
Right
really. Unless you want to talk about the Battlegrounds trailer that they launched at Gamescom.
I'm good.
No, it's okay. It still sucks.
Let's just jump into it. Oh, look, I captured the wrong window. Look, hey, that's my angle.
Back to the infinite again.
You can see how many people are actually watching us. How about that window capture? You go to this window instead. Much better. Oh, there we go. Any shit.
I'm glad that got rectified because I was about to jump into my spiel about WWE Battlegrounds being a sucky ass thing.
Konami, excuse me, Ubisoft. See, the brain is already bringing the two together. Ubisoft has apparently decided to become the worst fucking game company out there by just having controversy after controversy. This week's controversy, I'll just play this video here from the Tom Clancy's Elite Squad intro. Has decided to use, Black Power iconography for their bad guys in their new mobile game, which is coming out.
Not just bad guys. They used it as a imagery for fascism.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, not fascism. Terrorism. My apologies. The whole Tom Clancy thing just is steeped in fascism so much that I just thought, Branko Burr.
Serious question, like, how many people do you think that play Tom Clancy games know, what Tom Clancy, like, even his books at all? Like, not even have read them, like, just know what they are.
I mean, if you had asked me that question back whenever Rainbow Six first came out on the Nintendo 64, I probably would have said that there's probably a good, 60-70%. Nowadays, that is greatly diminished. Like, they might know of it coming from a book series, but let's be real. Like, most people just know it as a video game thing now. That's and done well to build a brand around that in that way, and that will end the good things I have to say about Ubisoft and Tom Clancy related in this conversation. Everything else is fucking terrible. That's basically it. Like they they put this thing out. They blatantly use this imagery during a period where first off, there's no argument for ignorance here. There's no argument for ignorance at all on the part of Ubisoft, knowing that putting that they were going to put this imagery into this game, looking at the current circumstances that have been happening. Let's be real. I know it's been highlighted over the past 3 months after George Floyd at the end of May,
Mm.
but this iconography has been used for years
Yeah.
by these movements, Black Lives Matter and everything that came before it. This is the same imagery that's been used for years ahead of this.
Yeah, it's been used since what, like the 1960 Olympics, I think?
I don't know. I don't want to say concretely because I don't know for sure, but I know it dates back a while.
Yeah.
You know, it's long enough to where like people should fucking know if they like that this is not something that you should use in connection to your faux terrorist organization in your fucking mobile game.
Yeah. And from what I have read on the Bloomberg, which of course I can't get into because, hey, they don't like it when I go in incognito to their website. Thanks. Uh, the people who are working at Ubisoft are not happy. God, surprised that people might be a little pissed off that your trailer has all of this going on, and it's apparently been a like this iconography has existed within the game. They've been working on it for years. This isn't a trailer they put together at the last minute. Literally, they had months to pour over this trailer, and no one looked at it and went, that is gonna cause us some troubles."
Yeah, and rightfully people called them out on this, and I know they issued a statement and an apology. I don't know if you want to get into that statement because it's a fucking thing.
Actually, where is the statement? I did not find the statement, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, give me 1 second. I'll find it.
I do, have the text for the game and what Umbra claims to be within this, and it's some silly ass bullshit. But yeah, I haven't actually seen what Ubisoft themselves had to say directly on this so far.
Well, they basically apologized and said they're going to remove the imagery. Here, I think I might have it here.
I do see that they have said there is no specific political intent behind the use of iconography, which, how?
Motherfucker. That's my response to you. Motherfucker. Like, not you directly, you, Ubisoft. Motherfucker. No, I'm sorry. You can say that all you want, but no. Images have power, images have messages. Like, you can't, especially whenever one that is so concretely defined as this one is. Here's their full statement.
Okay.
Imagery that appeared in the opening video sequence of Tom Clancy's Elite Squad featuring a, quote, raised fist was insensitive and harmful in both its inclusion and how it was portrayed. We have listened to and appreciate the players and the broader community who have pointed it out, and we apologize. This raised fist imagery will be removed in the next title update this Tuesday, September 1st, on Android and as soon as possible on iOS. Now, I love that the first reply on this tweet is from a user named Kate Danvers, who basically just quote tweets Ubisoft's statement that they issued after the killing of George Floyd. It says, so when you tweeted your statement back in June, was this game already in development, or was the idea to exploit and profit off of the movement conceived after that? Like, I can't put it better myself.
Yeah.
Big ups to you, Kate. Like, what the fuck? This is so two-faced and bullshit. And then if you get into Jason Schreier's article about this, looking at what's going on internally at Ubisoft in the wake of all of this, it gets even more just ridiculous and in some ways insidious in some ways. So, and I know we can't pull up the Bloomberg article, but I do have Jason Schreier on Twitter because it's a cool dude, and he posted some tweets, kind of giving some highlights from his article here.
Okay.
Quote: the director of this game and manager of the studio behind it is Charlie Guillemot. If that name sounds familiar, it's because his father is Yves Guillemot, Ubisoft CEO. Charlie Guillemot graduated university in 2014 and became studio manager in, wait for it, 2014.
There it goes.
Over the weekend, a number of Ubisoft staffers posted furious messages about the video on the company's internal forum, Mana. One message with a couple dozen likes starts off with the sentence, "I am sincerely exhausted by everything related to Ubisoft." By the way, Ubisoft has been planning another Ubisoft Forward video reveal. We talked about that. That's probably coming next week or so. So timing is impeccable. Yeah. So this isn't just us. This isn't just all of us out here looking directly at Ubisoft point blank. Oh, nope, take that back, roll that back. Um, Directly, like, gazing into the void that is Ubisoft, and basically just pointing fingers and like calling them out on their bullshit. This is happening inside the company too, and people are exhausted.
God, like, Ubisoft never had a great, name as far as being a company. Maybe a great name as far as being a developer, sure, but as far as being a company, never really had a great name. And, boy, this year has been. I don't know how they're holding this ship together right now. I don't know if it needs to be held together, to be frank with you.
Well, I mean, one of the more like insidious things in Jason's reporting around this is like, yes, the people internally at Ubisoft are definitely upset, and we'll see if anything really comes of that. The company, like, I know they can keep pushing for stuff. They've been, I mean, a lot of the push that's come around, the allegations of sexual assault have come from internally from people at the company. But to think that Charlie Guillemot is heading the studio there that's producing this game. I'm not saying that he directly like told them put the Black Lives Matter fist in it. That'll be a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it speaks to the power structures at Ubisoft and how they are maintained and how they are constructed to benefit the Guillemot family. So let's be real, Guillemot family is in a number of major positions in that company when it comes to executive leadership.
Yes.
And one of the major criticisms that has been surrounding Ubisoft over the past 2 to 3 months, argue ever, is the structure at the top and how those people in those positions really dictate harmful policies and harmful ideas downward through the studios there. I mean, we saw it um, on full display whenever the reports came out about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where like they wanted to make that just you play as this female protagonist, and they're like, no, players want to play as a white alpha male. Said all of the white dudes um, that were making the decisions. So that's the sort of thing that's happening here. Like it's you don't have any sort of like cultural advancement without putting people that have those ideas at the forefront of their minds into power. And the fact that Charlie Guillemot was put into at the top of a studio as soon as he graduated university, one, nepotism, two, clearly not ready for show.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, until they clear out all of this great family stuff here, and we're seeing more and more of just how when you bring in nothing but your own family with its own internal views, maybe you miss where you're going wrong. Maybe you don't see what you could be doing better. Is Ubisoft a company that makes money? Yes, absolutely. They make tons of money. So, from that standpoint, yeah, they're doing great. But this, they cannot hold up just on the quality of their games and gameplay from an objective, neutral stance or whatever. Against all of these shit that has been flying. And, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. I don't expect changes to come anytime soon, to be honest with you, and I think they may start going the Bethesda route if this keeps up.
Yeah, and honestly, real quick before we move off of this, I just have to say one more thing.
Mm.
The fact that Ubisoft is like saying that they continually insist there's no political intent behind their titles. Your major release for this year is literally a game about fighting back against the oppressive regime in London. That's literally what your game is about. It's about recruiting people to the cause, to the movement, to the rebellion. Fuck you. Fuck
Cool.
you. We're
Just
not in no political intent behind our bullshit. If that's the case, cool. You're fine with profiting off of it and utilizing it to tell what's probably going to be a pretty boilerplate story. But you don't really feel the need to. You don't believe that constitutes a stance on anything. That's real neat. That's real neat.
absolutely. Our next story of the evening, kind of a follow up here, but hey, it just keeps going. Mike Z over at over at Lab Zero making Skullgirls has been unable to say any good things lately. Just keeps running his mouth with sexist remarks, some really bad racial jokes, and refuses to ever apologize. Like, he'll say things along the lines of I'm sorry if you found what I said offensive. That wasn't what I mean." And the people that he works with are getting tired of it. And apparently, the majority of the people that work in Lab Zero have decided to quit the company over the treatment from Mike Z and some negative remarks he apparently made to the people who he works with. Cool.
Yeah. I believe we have a Lindsay now.
You do.
Hello.
Hooray! Just in time for the gross sexual misconduct talk.
This man needs to be slapped repeatedly.
Isn't it great going from having to talk to customer service to going to talk in a podcast? Just perfect slide.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast at least is stuff that I know and I understand for the most part.
Fair enough. Yeah, here's a little quote from Lab Zero. Skullgirls in all its form has been a product of years and years of effort from dozens of dedicated developers, artists, designers, and more. As such, Hidden Variable and Autumn are committed to investing in the ongoing development of Skullgirls without the involvement of Lab Zero or Mike Zaymont. We plan to work with the many talented individuals who are leaving Lab Zero to build new Skullgirls content moving forward. So it sounds a lot like they're prepping to just drop Mike entirely from this whole ass project.
Well, I mean, not even Mike necessarily, just the entire studio. Like Lab Zero, Dunzo. Like they're not working with them anymore when it comes to this. So, I don't know that. Who knows what exactly constitutes Lab Zero at this point? If it is just Mike, but I mean, from what it seems like, he really was trying to. He thought that he had a position of power in a lot of this. And I'm sure he felt that way. He wouldn't be making the kind of demands that he reportedly was making, and saying a lot of the things that he was saying if he didn't feel like he was very safe in his position. But I guess he didn't realize or didn't really think about the fact that his studio didn't own the IP for Skullgirls in this whole situation. And let's be real, like I can't honestly, y'all might be able to educate me more on this, but I can't think of another Lab Zero game that really had the kind of appeal and popularity that Skullgirls did. So, for all intents and purposes, Lab Zero Games is dead at this point. I don't know.
Well,
How?
I mean,
Sorry, you were gonna say.
Lab Zero really only actually ever put out one other game.
Yeah, just look that up. They had Indivisible, and that's about it. And I don't think I've heard anybody talking about that game ever.
Indivisible actually is a pretty good Metroidvania sort of game, and that's a bummer to hear that is tied to that studio, because that's a game that, I think that game is it's a great Switch game, if
Mhm.
that tells you anything about it. It's a great Switch game.
Fair enough.
Um so like that's a bummer. That's a real
Mm.
fucking bummer that game is tied to that studio.
There's only
Uh,
one kudos I'll give on that one is the fact that it was released on Linux as well.
Ooh,
I did not
nice.
know that.
Yeah, it literally released on all platforms.
Mm. No, but like specific to this one here, like it's the right decision for Autumn and for
Mm.
Hidden Variable to pull everything Skullgirls away from the studio. I mean, there's no, I don't see any way that you could have continued working with Lab Zero based off of this.
There's no
Even
way.
if they had wanted to try to find a way, which I don't think, honestly, after all of this, I don't think they did.
Hmm.
But even if you wanted to try and find a way, I don't know how you try and find that to do so. And there has been some look. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this out right now. We love Sonic Fox on this show.
Hmm.
We love Sonic Fox on this show. Sonic Fox, um,
Big stands
over the
here.
years, yes, big Skullgirl, big prominent figure in the Skullgirls community.
Hmm.
Plays it on the reg in competition, but they have at times been apologetic for Mike's behavior. And I don't think that Sonic Fox is out there saying that right now. I
No.
haven't checked, to be fair, but you know, Mike's been protected by people in
Hmm.
this industry doing for around doing this stuff, and been given the benefit of the doubt, and clearly wasted away any chance of trying to change. Clearly did not want to change. So I'm not losing any sleep over this decision. It's the right call for Autumn. It's the right
Mm.
call for Hidden Variable, and it's the right call for all these people that put their foot down and walked away from a job that honestly was terrible for them in terms of
Yeah.
their mental health.
And this can only be positive for the Skullgirls community. I know that they have been in a lot of infighting lately because of all this drama. So maybe now, if they get rid of Mike Z from the whole thing and his company and all that good stuff, they can go back to what they do best: have ladies beat the shit out of each other. All right, let's drop into our next story. Kind of an oddball here. The PS5, thanks to James Batchelor of GameIndustry.biz, as always, by the way, has decided to give random PSN users access to a pre-order system for the upcoming PlayStation 5 before anyone else. It's currently a US only initiative. So they are reaching out to random PSN people based on previous interest in PlayStation activities to be the first to be able to pre-order the console when nobody yet seems to know what the price is or when it's actually going to drop. So how they're going to do this with these people, if they're going to give them the price and date information, or just say, hey, give us the money and trust us. I don't
I
know.
I doubt it's the second option.
Yeah, you kind of have to tell these people what they're buying into, right?
And you've also got to wonder, how are they notifying them? Because I'm sorry, if I received an email, even if it looked legit, from Sony saying, hey, you can pre-order a PS5, I'm going to delete that as a scam email.
Yeah, if that comes into my mailbox over at my PlayStation, just like, oh, hey, you can pre-order a PS5 right now because you're such a great PlayStation brand ambassador. Fuck you. Woo! No.
I will say this: there at least is something good in this, like, kind of amorphous process that they are talking about doing with these pre-orders. They're only limiting people to purchase one console.
Good.
Not one of each version, just one. You pick one, you buy it. So they're really trying to cut down on the scalping market when it comes to this stuff. So
Good.
that's good on them at least. So that's nice to see. But I agree with you, Lindsay. If I just got, granted, you don't get the notification unless you register for it. But say you register and you forget about it, and then you just get a random email saying like, "Hey, pre-order that PS5? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark?" Then yeah, that very easily could be misconstrued as a scam email, just like to the trash bin.
I am a prince in Nigeria, and I have your PlayStation 5 ready for you. Please sign up for my account so I can get you your PlayStation 5.
Yeah, like it's the most elaborate non-phishing phishing scheme out there.
So, good on PlayStation for giving random people in the US only a chance to buy a console before anyone even knows the full details on the fucking console.
How ridiculous just single out that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-order this console before we tell you when it's going to come out and how much it's going to cost. Not to mention, what's the price difference between the regular console and the discless console?
We don't know.
That's it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's September.
Unfounded.
These things are supposed to come out in November.
You know, thinking about this a bit further, is anybody else considering the fact that this is like a really poorly set up Kickstarter campaign?
Oh, I can see it.
Hey, we just need a few bucks to make sure that our developers, and our hardware people can get all the things together.
I'm getting big, not necessarily like full-on Peachy Printer vibes, but definitely some Peachy Printer vibes.
While we're in here, by the way, on PlayStation stuff, might as well mention the Gamescom Awards for Best in Show took place. And the award for Best Overall went to CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk 2077. You probably wouldn't be terribly surprised on that. Little Nightmares 2 won for Best Nintendo Switch Game and for Best Presentation Trailer. And Project Cars 3 won for Best Simulation. This year's weird.
I did not see the Project Cars 3 trailer. I'm curious. Wait, it also won for Best Lineup. What the fuck? Even I need to see the nomination list in this.
Yeah.
I'm also perplexed over the fact that a chunk of these games haven't even been released yet.
Well, it's the Best in Show. It's, they did a show so they can play these like upcoming games, what's coming out in the next year. Some of these that CD Projekt Red took away a whole lot of this. Dirt 5, coming out next year, I believe, won for Best Racing Game, Best Sports Game, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I mean, these are all basically demos before the games actually launch that they played and then gave awards based on.
But, the
Yeah.
game could completely change between now and release, right?
Oh, absolutely. But, I mean, that's the idea of winning, the show. It's, hey, this is the most promising looking things coming soon. And boy, there doesn't actually seem to be a lot of it coming up from looking at this. If Best Presentation went to Little Nightmares 2 and Best Sports Game went to Tony Hawk Pro Skater,
Hey, that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 looks really good, actually.
It does, but it's a updated, modified re-release of a game that already existed, right?
I mean, it is, but it also it's not like a remaster is what you would normally think it is. Like I want to say that they've added in features and moves from later Tony Hawk games, so it's not like you're just getting like the base Tony Hawk 1 and 2 games there without implementations of other things from like 3, 4, even Thug.
Right.
But also they've added a lot of like modern day skaters to go alongside of the classics from the original game, including, and this is, I will admit, is specifically of interest, um, excuse me, of immense interest to me, is the fact that they now have, for the first time, have a non-binary skater in the game with the addition of Leo Baker. So
Nice.
that's really awesome to me. And so, but even then, like, the game, it just feels really good, and considering that you haven't had a good Tony Hawk game in over a decade at this point,
Ugh.
because the original HD remake of Tony Hawk 1 was terrible. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 was even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's just a nice return to form. I have the nomination list here. I'm trying to find where best presentation is. Oh, I'm sorry. Best presentation is the jury will make its selection from all game presentations. Okay.
Yeah, it says on the GameIndustry.biz one that Little Nightmares 2 was the winner.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to find best lineup. Oh, no, it's the same thing. Okay. So, because Project Cars 3 won best lineup also, and I don't even know what that is supposed to constitute. I'm trying to see any interest on what else was nominated, any categories for what else was nominated against stuff.
No, like
Okay.
fall of 2020, boy, it's going to be a real dry patch. It's feeling like. I realize like I tend to pre-order games that like I don't know if they'll be good or awful, but like if they're awful, I would still want to have them because I am that kind of guy. Uh, and I don't have anything pre-ordered now. At least nothing with a definitive date or anything. So
What if I told you that remake of 13 was also nominated for best remaster?
okay.
Sorry, I
Okay.
couldn't help it.
So many games that should be remastered first. Just so many games. But hey, we can't walk away from talking about Gamescom without this trailer. Wonder Boy is coming back out with a remaster of a previous game.
Been here all day, every fucking day.
I've never actually played Asha in Asha in Monster World, but I have heard nothing but good games. It is a beloved part of the franchise. So I definitely am interested in giving this a go because the Wonder Boy series is it's fun. It is cute, fun, happy times. It is at points, bare knuckle, hard as shit gameplay, but that's fine. That is what you want and what you get out of your Wonder Boy series. So have at it. Look at this beautiful girl going around and destroying all the slimes.
It looks cool. Like I've played a little bit of like the Wonder Boy series. I've never been really invested in the Wonder Boy series, contrary to what my nickname may. But at the same time, like I don't know, it's possible I might fuck with it. I'm just not like, I don't know. It's just not my style of game for the most part.
Fair enough.
It looks really good though. It looks like I can see people that are into it being impressed and excited.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed the Wonder Boy series. I don't give it the time that I really should give to Wonder Boy, but I played the shit out of the releases on the Sega Genesis. And hey, John Borg, how's it going, buddy? Always had a good time. It's a fun Metroidvania style action game. With I mean, the gameplay has mostly stayed the same, other than you can really change up your abilities and skills throughout the different entries into the Wonder Boy series. They go for different, like, classical era aesthetic things, different grim tales and whatnot. So, yeah, it's just good, cute fun.
Now, excuse me, Jesus. Um, Real quick before we move off of Gamescom, 'cause I think this is our last like specific Gamescom
Yes.
topic. I'm curious just to kind of like gauge the room a little bit. What was like what was the one or two games that were like your biggest takeaways from the Gamescom lineup?
I'm going to be completely straightforward with you. I didn't have time today to go over much of the Gamescom information other than just kind of give it a glance. And honestly, looking at it at a glance, I went, I know most of these, and I don't really find. I'm not really. Nothing besides Wonder Boy, for obvious reasons, kind of stuck out for me. And this is about it.
That's fine. I mean, there wasn't a lot of new that was announced at Gamescom, so that makes sense. Lord, my voice is going.
Yeah, it seemed to be like either a lot of things that I didn't care about in the first place, or things that I've just had a lot of market saturation information in with me already. I'm going to guess, seeing as how Merowyn's day has gone, I doubt she got much of a chance to look into it either.
Time? What's time?
It's this thing that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
A miserable pile of secrets, but enough small talk. Let's talk
I will.
Polybius.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say
go
that
ahead.
the Dragon Age 4 stuff is exciting to me. Just because I'm glad that we actually got we got thrown a lifeline here and be like, hey, we're making this thing, and here's some concept art and here's some people talking about it. And I'm just glad that there was some more information there, and that was cool. The other thing that, not necessarily for good reason, stuck with me coming out of this, and we'll get to it later because we do have a topic talking about some stuff around this game. Any of y'all see the trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War?
I did not, to be honest with you. It's Call of Duty, so I kind of just kept scrolling.
I understand that, and I'm gonna save this for when we talk about Call of Duty later. But fuck, not a good one. Not a good fuck.
Not a good fuck. One of the bad ones, huh?
Yep.
All right.
A lot of use, bad use.
Yeah, I don't. And the weird thing is, I didn't really hear a whole lot of chatter around Gamescom at all. Like, I looked at my timeline several times a day. I have several reporters that have follow my timeline. I swear nobody really cared or talked much about anything, so.
A lot of what was news making came out during the opening night live presentation. So literally go watch the 2-hour video if you want to see all of the major points that came from Gamescom.
Gotcha.
That's really it. So.
All right. Anywho, this one just fascinates me because it's literally as if they decided to advertise directly to me, and I think other people may find this as interesting as I do. Quarter arcades here. The kind of chunky boys that are big enough to be played, but not the little tiny things that have trouble getting fingers into. They're pretty cool, and Numbskull Designs has made some really impressive ones that have really gotten that arcade aesthetic correct. They have decided to put out a Polybius quarter scale arcade cabinet. It is a goddamn pretty boy. It does not have an actual game in it. Which I think is a good idea. Like, I know Jeff Minter's made a Polybius game before. I think some other games have kind of tried to play off of Polybius before. I don't think you can ever recreate with an actual game the dirty, nostalgic feeling for the idea that is Polybius, the urban legend that it is built. So I'm kind of glad that it's just a demo machine that plays all sorts of eerie sounds back at you. As well, it's a nice 10-prong USB hub for your price. So it's a real pretty collector's item that gives off the perfect like stone mosaic look to the game. It is a great collector's item, and also Stuart Ashens is backing it. So he was brought into it as part of he's doing a movie right now, the Polybius Heist. So he's promoting it as well. So it's as if they just kind of like, hey, let's just get all the things Travis like and put it in one place. And yeah, thanks. You got my 100. Well, I was one of the early backers, so $80. But still, you got it. It's yours now.
Okay, so real quick, what is the significance of it being a giant USB hub?
Actually, nothing. It's just they needed. They have wanted to make their arcade cabinets into a USB hub since this doesn't actually play any games directly. They wanted to give people a little bit of extra value into what they have. So, and you know, it adds to that little weird aesthetic having cables just pumping out of the back of the cabinet going this way and that. So, I think that's really about the full Monty on why they wanted that, just to give a little bit of extra value. Since there is no game, it is just there to be eerie and ominous and play some ominous stuff back at your face.
Okay, so basically, like, you can, like, from what I'm gathering, reading through this, like, you can, like, is it like power? You can power other cabinets through the
Yeah,
USB
because
stuff.
yeah, most of their other cabinets are USB powered, so you can.
Okay.
It is they have a full line of other arcade cabinets, and it's kind of meant to go along with their full range. So it's meant to all build together in the end, and it's just primarily an odd collector's item that not a lot of people, I think, really know the Polybia story. Like, I find it really an engaging and engrossing, weird idea. I've watched several videos on, researching where did the Polybius urban legend come from, and there's like nuggets of truth buried into the whole idea of Polybius, which is really the fun part for, one of these like things that clearly don't exist, but there's bits and pieces that you can add together and go, oh, well, that's fascinating.
Like any good urban legend.
Absolutely.
So, this is something that maybe we should keep an eye out for on a future episode of Thought Dub.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, honestly. For anyone really, really interested in the history of Polybius, I will say Retro Ahoy has done an amazing video going into the history of it. Really deep diving, like going through Usenet logs looking for anything on Polybius. Where did the original images come from? Who submitted the original images that have been used? Because this arcade cabinet is based upon images that people have submitted before. It's supposed to be a large, cold, dead iron looking thing with warning, with like FBI looking stickers on it, and just something that is an ominous glow to it. And they nailed it. It's dead fucking on what I thought a Polybius cabinet would physically look like. So it's dope.
I'm looking at our schedule for Thought Dub going into October. We have an episode scheduled for the week of Halloween.
Ooh.
Yes.
Maybe we deep dive into the history around Polybius for Halloween week on Thought Dub.
Yeah, I mean, it will depend upon whether I go to Atlanta or not, but hey, with the COVID going on, it's looking a lot less like I'm going.
It's all right. We'll figure it out, but I'm just tentatively scheduled. TBA.
Yeah. That'll be a fun one. We'll have a spooky time. I'll turn down the lights and we'll talk about the haunted Polybius.
I mean,
Real
if
quick-
Fallout fails and you can't do the Halloween week one, we can always wait for Friday the 13th.
True.
True. There. The week before that, or the episode that we have scheduled before that, comes on a Tuesday the 13th. So
13's
It
a
all
good
works
number.
13's a good number. We'll figure it out. We'll tackle Polybius at some point. I do real quick, since we are talking about Polybius. Two things about this cabinet. One, I want to know how quickly a modder is going to get Jeff Minter's version of Polybius running on this thing, because you know what's going to happen.
Oh,
Like within
absolutely.
like a day of this thing being released to the public. And two, I do also want to take this moment to highlight Jeff Minter's new game, which I forgot to talk about at the beginning of the show. Just look up the trailer to Moose Life. That's all I'm gonna say. Just look up Moose Life and eat the pills.
I had to explain Jeff Minter to somebody the other day, and I'm like, who is he? Like, are you aware of like Lord British? Yeah, he came up like in the same era, and it's just one of those crazy ass beloved British developers that, you know, hasn't really made like a mainstream game in a long time, but has just kind of always been there making weird shit for the last so many years, and the people who know him are devotees to Jeff Minter.
Yep. Full force.
Absolutely.
All right. So I just watched about 30 seconds of said trailer.
Yeah.
The fuck did I just watch?
Moose Life.
Moose Life!
Dear God.
The man, the great thing is I follow him on Twitter, like 90% of his posts are just him hanging out in his farm, being just like a casual old British dude. And then occasionally, just out of nowhere sometimes, some real batshit developer stuff. And then right back into everything. What a cool guy. I love that. I'm not huge on his games, but I love the guy.
The thing that worries me about Moose Life, just watching all of the flashy, twitchy weirdness, this has VR support.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
How many people are going to die from playing this game?
In Jeff Minter's mind, not enough.
Yeah, people, like, his fan base knows, because every game that he makes is flashy, trippy bullshit. That is his bread and butter, and he's been very into VR games of late, so. Yeah. I think Polybius has a VR version, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. I'm not positive, but I want to say that's correct.
Alright, moving
Give me a
on.
sec, I'll find out.
Moving on
Yes,
to...
yes it is.
It is? Cool.
Yeah.
Xbox has been doing their best, all of the people over at Microsoft, to figure out how to get the new Halo out on track now. Because this game's development has really, from all reports, sounded like it has been not a train wreck or dumpster fire, but a slog. Just a... Getting it where it needs to be has been a long walk, and there are rumors that it could even be delayed into 2022 at this point. So they have brought in one of the original project leads for the first Halo trilogy, Joseph Staten, to get the game back on track, which... It's interesting, the idea of getting a game this late in its life cycle. I mean, even if it, takes a year and a half at this point, that's still, it seems late in its lifestyle to bring in a project lead. But that is how much they are on trying to get this back into their ecosphere because people have been dying to get their hands on a new Halo.
And what's curious to me is where Staten worked on Halo before. You know, what department of the game. On the original trilogy, he worked in, I believe, the cinematics. He was a writer and the cinematics director.
Mhm.
So he was very much based more so in the storytelling and the narrative of the game, as opposed to a lot of the things that draw people to Halo. I would say,
Yeah.
like, yeah, Halo has a through line. It has a narrative. By the way, I suggest anybody go check out Brian David Gilbert's video where he read all of the Halo novels. If you want to get an idea of the ridiculousness that comes with the Halo narrative,
Oh, yes.
but it does have a narrative through it. But the thing that pulls people to Halo uh, is the combat.
Yes.
It is the shooting. It is the multiplayer. Um, the story is, I think, is still vital to a good Halo game, but in a lot of players' minds, it can be an afterthought.
Mm.
So, and the fact that he's being brought back to specifically head the single player campaign for this game, not it makes me think that they are in a good place with the combat structure of this game, or at least they're confident there, since there's not really a lot of talk regarding the delay being around the multiplayer. You know, there was even talk, you know, we talked about last week with Phil Spencer, where he was talking about possibly releasing the game piecemeal, where the multiplayer would come out before the campaign did.
Mm.
So it makes me think that they feel like they're in a good place with the multiplayer. And really this delay focuses more on the development of the single player campaign. And if that's the case, then Staten's probably a good hire, considering that he's coming off of another, you know, heavily narrative entrenched game like Tell Me Why. Um, so yeah, I like the move. I don't. It doesn't answer a ton of questions, but it does maybe shed some light on what exactly is keeping Halo Infinite in this development limbo right
Mhm.
now, in terms of its delay.
Yeah, and I agree. All the puzzle pieces added together from what all I've read, it does very much sound like Joseph is here to fix the single player in the first place. And yeah, they've said before they were considering, as you said, releasing that multiplayer. So all of the pieces do fit together into kind of getting an idea of what's going on. And to if I had to surmise based on everything, it does sound like they probably already have the like story. I would hope at this point have the story beats all together, but making them mesh and cohesive is probably why they brought him in. That would be my guess, because there's no way they're going back and rewriting the story at this point. I would hope.
Well, you would hope, but there's still rumors about around when this is coming out. Let's also not forget, Halo Infinite's an open world game. Like, this
True.
is something completely new for the Halo ecosystem. Like,
Mhm.
there's never been anything like this before. And so, like, 343, I could see, like, I don't necessarily am going to say that they struggled with exactly how to build out an open world Halo in this way, but it helps to have someone who has intense knowledge and intense experience working on this series for a long time across multiple platforms. um, to be able to come in and help maybe steer to something in the right direction, or figure out a better way to tackle how to tell that story and how to build out this open world atmosphere that you're trying to tell this story through, and also to make the campaign feel expressive and actually fun to play. I like I said, it's hard to really speculate beyond the narrative aspects of what goes into this, just because we don't necessarily know why
Hmm.
this game has been delayed. But you know, it does. I don't know. It makes me feel like they have an idea of where they want to go with it, and hopefully having a direction will help them get this thing out in 2021, as opposed to where some of the other rumors are pointing right now.
Yeah, I mean, if it takes all the way into 2022, I mean, I don't think anybody who is going to buy into an Xbox Series X is going to be terribly mad if it's not there on first day. But they'll definitely want it soon, right? Like if you're talking any later than summer next year, I think they're going to have some angry customers on their hand.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, we have to continue on this story that's been ongoing with Epic. And currently, it looks like Apple has gone in and definitely canceled Epic's developer account with Apple. So any development tools that they have, they will not be able to update at this point.
So there's some nuance to this because while Apple did deactivate Epic's access to it, there was a court injunction that said that Apple could not, um, basically, they couldn't cut support for Unreal Engine.
Mhm.
So any developer that's outside of Epic that is using Unreal, like it would be too detrimental to the ecosystem there.
Right.
So they're not saying that they can't update those tools. It's just Fortnite's still off.
Mhm.
Fortnite's still not there. So
Yeah.
Fortnite is off, and if you search Epic Games on the App Store, it's blank.
yeah.
Yep. So not a whole lot of real surprise here, and thankfully the developers, the little guys who bought into an ecosystem with Epic and all of that, are still able to publish their games. So I don't know. This continues to be one of those you greedy fucks. Just figure it fucking out. Thankfully, you're not dragging other people into your bullshit.
Yeah, the fact that the judge ruled that, support for Unreal has to continue is great. But I think Apple, even if he had ruled, no, you can kill Unreal, Apple would have stopped and went, wait a second. Like 80% of the games that we offer through our subscription service, Apple Arcade, are made with Unreal.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of kicking their own butt. You're going to lose a lot more money than just the Fortnite money out of that. So that's kind of important to them, I have to imagine. Though, with how many weird lawsuits have been coming up against Apple lately, I expect it to continue to get weirder until something finally happens. All right, here's one that people have been talking about a whole lot. Microsoft is working on a third-person Perfect Dark title, is kind of the scuttlebutt. It was said on Reddit that they are working on this as well. There have been hiring information out there. They've been looking for people for a job listing that is listed as a quadruple A studio for the initiative, whatever the initiative it is. It sounds like it's likely Perfect Dark, but of course it could always be something else. We just know those two things in parallel, right? So we know that there's a Perfect Dark game coming and all of this. And it's kind of left a lot of people to say, what the hell do you mean by a AAA studio? It's not necessarily that this studio that they are putting together for the title is a quadruple A studio, but they want you to have a quadruple A studio attitude. What the hell does that even mean?
Well, I mean, if everybody's ragging on how bad the AAA industry has gotten, the only thing to do that'll make it better is add another A, right?
No. Sorry. I know that was a setup for a joke, or rhetoric, but
yeah, that is the correct answer. I believe Wonder Boy had it right. The answer is no. We don't need another A because a AAA studio already means a studio with all of the money. I don't understand how you expect to make a return if you are then extrapolating that to an even larger level. What does that look like?
Well, I mean, they could be, and this is just me throwing shit at the wall.
Mm.
Um, they could actually, with all of the poorly disguised attempts at gambling and furthering that addiction in video games, maybe they're coming up front and the fourth A stands for addiction.
It's a AAA
Fighting
addict game. I love it.
I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I saw the Quad A thing come out this week or last week, I immediately thought that was gonna be our Mr. Video Games because this is that dumb. I don't know. I don't know. It's stupid. I will not ever use it ever outside of this context unless I am making fun of it
Mm.
because it is dumb.
It is super dumb.
Yeah. That being said, though, hey, you want to make a new Perfect Dark? Go for it.
Yeah, I'm good with a new Perfect Dark. That's a series that I would love to see come back. And I won't lie, there's a whole lot of things this week that could have been Mr. Video Games. Just the one that we went with just made everyone feel interested, I think. So,
Oh no, definitely, it was a good choice. This like is equatable to the level of dumbness that we like to infuse that category with. I think.
absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. Although I do like Lindsay's definition for the fourth A though. And so if you are going to legitimately do it, definitely make that A addiction.
Mm-hmm. Give me that A.
No, you don't want that. Nobody wants that A. That A is bad.
All right. It looks like Unity has dropped in with the Securities Exchange Commission in order to put out an initial public offering. So it sounds like they are looking to get an influx of cash into the engine. Of course, they are working on a newer, greater engine that will come out, I believe, next year in order to make all of the big-ass shiny games. So yeah, I can understand an infusion of money before that, and it genuinely sounds like a solid investment, if that's the way you want to look into it. There's not a whole lot to say on this, but it is interesting that Unity itself is going in as its own IPO, just a company that makes engines, as far as I'm aware at this point.
Well, I mean, think about it though. It's one of the most widely adapted engines in the industry right now, though. I'd say like outside of Unreal, like this is probably number one, especially among indie developers and mobile developers. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. I mean, granted, the company's still operating at a pretty significant loss, year over year, but it's a tech company.
Mm.
That happens. And honestly, from what I've read and seen, that doesn't necessarily dissuade investors all that much when it comes to the tech sector. So
No,
I
it's
don't know.
all what they can do with it usually within the tech sphere rather than are you making money now? So
Yeah, exactly. Now, what's interesting to me though is that like while they do have a lot of people using their products, and their storefront does fairly well when it comes to inexpensive dev tools, um, I wonder how the I wonder how the stock exchange is going to uh, be receptive. Not necessarily that they're going to be like, "Oh, this Unity thing needs to get out 'cause we're the big boys," but like in terms of people really looking crucially at what this can do and evaluating its performance over time in that atmosphere with this, because I'm assuming if they do get put onto if they do go public, that's going to be a good amount of money infused. It might be enough to offset some of those losses. Um, and they might have something new coming up in the pipeline. They might be, developing more on their own engine. They might have a new engine in the works.
mhm.
Who knows? So I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens. I don't necessarily always pay attention to this, but this is a fun little thing.
Yeah, I mean, it from everything, it sounds a lot like they're trying to ramp up for something big. I can see a lot of trying to regain a lot of ground. So I don't know. It's a thing, and if you really care about the stats and numbers of it, I always like whenever people are investing in a company rather than the company, producing it. It always feels kind of weird to me, but like I get it. You've got to play ball with what you got. So yep. Hopefully it makes something big and good in the next few years. That is go Unity.
I wonder if this would affect their like licensing charges for developers using their engines. Like if those costs might go down if they have a public option available.
I don't imagine it will because those investors will want any return on investment.
Oh, that's true. Oh God, you just reminded me of this. This is gonna put the onus on shareholders over developers.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Okay, fuck this. Sorry. Fuck. Okay, look, I love Unity. I love what they do, but without a good perspective of them like knowing how they're going to weigh decisions versus the people that license and use their products versus the shareholders that are going to be buying into this company. There's some worry. There's now some worry. There's some worry on my end.
I mean, it's like I said, it's good on Unity, but it's troublesome from the ROI perspective for a company that hasn't really been in the clear for a while. So
very rarely do you see the realization come through live on broadcast. Fuck.
All right, and this was just fun. Microsoft Flight Simulator players are flying directly into Hurricane Laura for the funsies because you can do live weather within the game now. So you can track the weather patterns directly in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, hey, if you want to fly into Laura today, you can go do it.
Someone clip that.
Alright, and that is all before our 7th inning stretch with Blazeball. Alright, everyone get up, and it's time for the Brian Bell Minute with Blazeball. How has the week given to us? How has the commissioner made us the happiest people?
Well, first off, the commissioner's doing a great job.
Of course.
As always. We are all of Blazeball. No, so here's the update. First off, season 4 concluded. The Hades Tigers won their 2nd championship in a row, back to back.
Boo.
So now the Hades Tigers and the Philly Pies both have 2 championships apiece. They're both in the same division, and if they win again, they're both up for Ascension, and no one knows what Ascension means.
Ooh.
So we'll see what happens. That being said, though, the decrees that came through at the end of last season, I believe one was the alternate. What was it? I can't remember exactly what it was called. Basically, it opened up a potential alternate reality in some ways. It's been odd because like there hasn't been like a direct correlation to anything in the game from what I've gathered so far to that opening. It's just been there's been some like people people that are operating the different player and team Twitter accounts have been like talking about like some of their players like being replaced with alternate versions of themselves and all this other stuff. So, but I haven't seen anything concrete to really point to what this is outside of this season's election, where all of the decrees, there's no explanation. There's just confuse the good league, confuse the evil league, diagonal world, parallel world, do nothing, or high filter. I have no fucking idea what's going on right now, and I'm very, very curious. That being said, notable things from last season, we had a wave a series of waves come through
Mm.
and deliver a number of coins and election tickets to basically every user. And those waves have stuck around as a weather condition, now known as reverb,
Mhm.
where if it does get enacted, basically a team's pitchers and batters will get randomly reassigned to different positions, such as what happened to the Hawaii Fridays earlier today, where two of their pitchers became hitters and two of their hitters became pitchers, which kind of curtailed their early
Yeah.
season. They were off to like a 4-0 start,
Mhm.
and since that happened, well, they're still 7-2, so they're still doing
Yeah,
well.
they're doing all right, but it's not the same since they got kerfluffled. And hey, Kelvin, how's it going?
Exactly. So yeah, that was an interesting thing. So the reverb is around. That's all happening. We also had the emergence of Blagon balls. So they are exactly what they sound like if you were familiar with Dragon Ball. So basically, the first Blagon Ball, the 5 blood Blagon Ball, was found whenever the Patreon hit their first Patreon goal. And then the second one was found after Sandy Turner stole 3 bases in 1 inning and 3 blood Blagon Ball emerged. This game is ridiculous and I love it. And then, of course, we do have to have a little bit of an in memoriam here because one notable player in the lore of Blaseball is no longer with us. Formerly of the Charleston Shoe Thieves and lastly of the Boston Flowers, one Morrow Doyle, the player who hit the Grand Unslam, was incinerated on day 98 of Season 4. So goodbye to Morrow Doyle. Gave us probably the first significant event that players really gravitated to from what I saw around this game. If you don't know about the Grand Unslam, just search the Grand Unslam, and there's a whole wiki entry on this one random thing that kind of forebode the eventual transition from the Los Angeles tacos to the unlimited tacos. So that all being said, we are still in the first few days of Season 5 and where we currently stand in the standings. Right now, the Philly Pies, the Canada Moist Talkers, the Hawaii Fridays, and the San Francisco Lovers are leading their respective divisions. The Baltimore Crabs just took over the top spot from the Philly Pies. And of course, the defending champion Hades Tigers are currently 4-5, and the Miami Dale are still drinking all of that coffee.
I signed up, of course, for the Wild Wings because I'm me, and yeah, not the proudest signature onto a team, but go Wild Wings nonetheless.
I
There you
mean,
go.
I went Canadian, and I'm really kind of happy that I did.
Yeah, the Moist Talkers have been having a pretty good season so far. They're a pretty good team to have in your pocket. Maybe not as much with the Wild Wings, at least so far, but with teams getting fully scrambled, you never know.
Exactly. Like this, it could happen at any point. And like Canada is looking good right now, but Seattle and Breckenridge are breathing down your neck. So we'll see what happens. They made the playoffs last year, or last season. So we'll see what happens.
Well, in their current game, they're sitting 11-3 over the Jazz Hands. So
there you go.
Rocket. All right, that has been your Blaseball 7th inning stretch back into the show. Hey, the COD stuff is weird with their packaging. The transition to this new generation, this has been real fucking confusing. And looking at what they are doing with COD right now, I look more and more honestly at what Control did and said, fuck it, we're just going with this one thing across the board. Because this is weird. The Digital Standard Edition can be upgraded to the PS5 version for $10. The Digital Standard version on Xbox One can be upgraded to Xbox Series X Still being evaluated, but so we don't even know yet. The physical standard edition of Black Ops Cold War on PS4 can be upgraded to the PS5 version for free as long as you have... if you have the physical version, you will have to buy the physical console. You cannot upgrade to the digital version on the digital console.
Real quick, that's for a fee, not free.
Oh. Good reading.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're still asking more money.
For a fee. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't even upgrade. Like, if you bought the digital version of the PS5 and you have the physical copy on the PS4, you gotta buy a whole fucking new one. Can't even pay a fee. Physical standard edition of Black Ops Cold War on Xbox One cannot be upgraded to the Xbox Series X version.
Oh, fuck.
The base digital and physical standard edition of Black Ops Cold War can be played on PS5 and Xbox Series X via backwards compatibility if you want to get the cross-gen bundle or upgrade, but you don't get the next-gen version. And you can only upgrade within the console family. You cannot buy a PS4 game and go to the Xbox Series X. That one makes a little bit of sense. The other ones... especially the if you bought the physical standard edition, you can't upgrade it at all. This is weird.
I feel like I need some kind of a chart or graph to follow all of this shit.
Wait, this is perfect. We can bring back the Anthem chart.
Oh my god, no! I do not want the Anthem chart.
Just somebody just quickly spray paint COD on top of the Anthem chart and bring it back.
Yeah, this is I mean, yes, you can still play the unupgraded version of your PS4 or Xbox One game on your next gen console regardless, so it's not the biggest fuck all, but the fact that Xbox itself has been making a big point, hey, you can upgrade your Xbox One's games to Series X for free, and this is coming out, it's just a big fucking spit in the face to Microsoft.
I mean, maybe that's why they are still evaluating what they want to do with it, and that they are blanketly saying that if you have the physical version of this, there is no way to update it, which sounds just preposterous to me in that way. It makes me feel like they are not confident about the Xbox One install base and that they really either are trying to push for people to pay that either, because we still don't know how much this is going to cost just base level for PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Mm.
So it could potentially be like they could be moving to the $70 model as well. You know, it would fit with like selling a $60 PS4 game, charging $10 to move up to the PS5 version.
Mm.
So if that's the case, though, it makes me wonder if they are just when it comes to the Microsoft side of things, if they're just holding out for the Series X and not, and just the Xbox One is already in their rear view and they're just putting it out on that console because they feel a necessity to at this point, but they don't really want to support it. And then, or if they just don't really know, if they're like in negotiations with Microsoft right now as to how to approach that, considering Microsoft has been very upfront about how they are pricing at least their first party stuff when it comes to, you know, upgrading and backwards compatibility and all that, and all of those different circumstances. I don't know. This is very strange messaging. I get that you want to put this out at the same time that you actually announce your game, but to not have these deals like fully cemented in place and have any questions around it is an odd look.
Well, and I mean, it's Activision, right? So could you not see them put out their game, have support for PS4, and then as soon as the PS5 console is launched, they kill the PS4 servers?
I don't see them as soon because the install base for the PS4 and Xbox One are staying around for, I'd say, a good 2 years solid.
Yeah, like this console generation, I think is probably going to be the one with the longest bleed over between the two that we've seen.
Mm.
I don't think that one. I don't think it. Obviously, who knows what the hell Activision is thinking at any point when it
Mm.
comes to stuff. Um, but I think even they would be smart enough to not look at the PS4 servers as something that they can just cut as soon as the PS5 comes out. Give it maybe a year, at least. I'd probably say like a year from now,
Mm.
or a year after the release of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. I could definitely see that happening because that would have give in their minds that would have given people plenty of time to migrate over to the new console. And really, the main thing that I think is going to keep the PlayStation 4 in the minds of Activision is the Warzone mode
Mm.
because that has been highly successful, um, especially on PlayStation 4. I know plenty of people playing PC and Xbox One, but PlayStation 4 has been very successful for them. I am bombarded by their advertisement for that mode so much. So, like, I think that if they want to continue making that something profitable going forward, they can't really cut out the PS4 market at least for a year. I would probably argue even like 2 to 3. I wouldn't entertain the idea of cutting off those servers.
God, there are going to be so many fucking confused parents going into this next generation. Like,
Yeah,
all right.
it's ridiculous. Also, real quick, because this is where I just wanted to touch on something in the trailer for this game.
Mm.
Who wants to play a game where literal Ronald Reagan tells you it's okay to commit war crimes?
Literal Ronald Reagan.
Yep, Ronald Reagan is in this game. They animated a Ronald Reagan.
All right.
They they animated AIDS denial.
You know, this has been a fun time in Mr. Video Games. Good.
I'm just saying.
Seriously, what year is this?
1981.
Good. I would like to be unborn again.
Yeah.
Oh, what year are we in? Or what year is the game? I'm sorry, I was confused.
All right. This one definitely was in the running for in my head for Mr. Video Games. So Oculus is doing some rebranding. All of the AR VR divisions are all coming together now as the Facebook Reality Labs with this absolutely not ominous triangle logo. There's like nothing. There is nothing to fucking say about this. This is the most like ominous, unsettling logo I have seen in my entire fucking life, and you want me to buy a $600 headset to go into it? Cool. No. Fuck off.
I do not need to see the two words Facebook and reality next to each other at any point ever.
Yeah, do you want Facebook to create a reality? I guess they kind of are doing that to our parents, so that's cool. Remember when Facebook was just for the college kids, and boy, that was a time that existed. I'm exhausted.
I don't blame you. This is some dumb stuff.
Facebook, if you're listening though, this monochrome little Illuminati symbol that you're putting out for us, please don't change your mind. You still got time. You can leave it as the Oculus. Who the fuck cares? Just put it all under Oculus and don't do this.
Like, seriously, this looks like something that somebody put together at 3 a.m., minutes before it's due in, like, MS Paint. Could you imagine getting paid as much as this logo designer did for, like, realistically 5 minutes worth of work?
when I saw this, I was certain that Nibel was taking the piss. 'Cause this is what somebody would submit because they're mad. There's a story about the N-Gage, the original plastic shell model that has like the lines coming in. That the engineer so pissed off at having to remake the console so many times to fit different specifications that different divisions wanted, designed it in after Goatsy and has left it as that model, and that is still one of my favorite dumb tech stories to this day. That they went with it. And he's like, I can't tell anybody because I'd like to stay employed. So they just kind of ran with it for the initial model. All right, into our lastish stories, plural, of the day. Fall Guys Season 2 is going out. They're showing off beta of it, and it looks like it's going heavily into the medieval era. You're getting a whole lot of knight stuff. You know, you've got some castles. You've got a nice, sneak peek going on here of Season 2 stuff. That dragon costume looks adorable as fuck. I kind of want it. And this looks adorable as shit. I'm for it. It looks like you're putting together little Lego towns and different themes, and it's fun.
I'm into it. Like I'm stoked to see that they are already, have new stuff coming, and the costumes are great.
Yeah, and having the witch in time for Halloween, it looks like you kind of are going to have to work together to get through some of these things. So that's going to be neat because you're moving around the whole bits and pieces.
Because, yeah, just what we need is more team games.
To be fair, though, these are the kind of team games that I think would be way more fun than the team games they have in there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have something where you have to work together as a team to build, like, platforms to get through an obstacle course as opposed to that stupid egg game, I am so into that.
Yeah, and some of these race levels look pretty intense. I don't give a fuck about this little hoopty bridge thing. That one, I can already tell that one's going to be the one I get into. Like, fuck, this thing again? I don't want your rings. And finally, coming in under... just under the time limit, Mr. Beast, Ninja, G2 Esports, and AimLab all came together with $1 million for a special effect charity to go in together for a skin for Fall Guys. $1 million for everyone.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. I understand them all wanting to go together, but I have to wonder what an amalgamation of these 4 very different things is going to look like.
I have no idea.
I'm just sad that the potty people didn't get theirs in, because I was looking forward to the butt jokes. I'm not even going to lie. Excited for the butt jokes.
Who isn't?
But that has been your Mr. Video Game for August the 31st, 2020. Of course, we can't end Mr. Video Games without declaring our Mr. Video Games of the Week in God. Fall Guys having the $1 million for charity, that weird Oculus bullshit, a quadruple A developer. What else can you look at and go, boy, that thing right there, that is video games. And our winner is the Watermelon Game Boy, made by Cedric. I don't think we have his full name, but decided to hollow out for reasons and build a Game Boy into a watermelon in place of Pokemon Emerald. This is just oddly adorable.
I'm into this.
Obviously, this is a short-term thing. I don't want to know what the watermelon boy is going to look like in a couple months from now, but yeah, make your watermelon dreams come true. It's summertime and the weather's fine.
The first ever gaming system that advises you to refrigerate after opening.
God damn it! This is so good.
That is up there, the Watermelon Boy in all of its glories with its speaker holes and its nice button placement for you to play Pokemon upon.
Oh man.
We've seen some weird shit come out of COVID, but this is up there. And kudos to you, sir, for making sure that the inside of your watermelon doesn't short circuit all your circuitry. Good job. Really great engineering. Well,
I need to
Melon,
watch this video at some point.
yeah, I will admit I kind of skimmed through it and looked at all of the high points. Of course, watching him trying to figure out the the flexibility of a watermelon, that was a high point right there. So you get that right button pushback. Well, this has been Mr. Video Games for August the 31st, 2020. We will, of course, see you tomorrow, the 1st of September, for Thought Dub! Everybody look forward to that. Of course, as always, you can find us on our Twitters, our Discord. All of that happy shit is in the description down below the doodad. We're real excited to bring you some Thought Dub tomorrow. Anyway, Brian, you got any final words for us this evening?
Other than hero-based battle pass, no. Sorry, I realized we didn't get to that story this week, and I forgot to put it in the thing. We won't talk about that here. We can save that for next week. It's dumb. No, I think I just want to take a moment because, like, speaking of the Avengers, there was a death over the weekend that was incredibly impactful to a number of people, myself included. The death of Chadwick Boseman. It's like I was shook. Like it hurt a lot. I was kind of numb for a lot of the weekend because of it. Because like just to think like this man was suffering from colon cancer for like the past 4 years and still put together a number of films that really pushed for black representation and highlighted black figures and heroes, both fictional and non-fictional, that really spoke to multiple generations within black communities, black populations, and really gave them a representation that we haven't seen. I mean, Black Panther, I think, will live forever, based off of his depiction of it. And like, you don't really see people and industries from multiple sectors sort of come to a standstill, at least for a moment, over a single person's passing in the way that happened over the weekend. So, rest in power to Chadwick Boseman, and yeah, I'm not gonna plug my shit after that. Just like it's just not right. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Lady Marilyn, any final word for us this evening?
You know, I think Brian said it best, so I'm just leaving it at that.
All right.
Oh, wash your hands.
And social distancing.
Yes.
Well, everyone, it has been a fun evening. Otherwise, thank you everyone for coming. John Borg, Kelverin, Lilac Llama, and I'm sure all of our other listeners out there. It's always great to be able to get together and have fun with everyone here. There is an awful lot going on out there. Stay safe and hey, just be there. Thank you, everyone. We will talk with you tomorrow night about Ralph Bear's Brown Box. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Bye.